if you think about him, here's a clown. Like, I love the hip-hop culture. I'm in love with the hip-hop culture. Blood, sweat, and tears went in my movement for the hip-hop culture.
He popped off at me first saying my podcasting and business was 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I told him I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't give a who he ratted on.
Right.
That ain't my business. The people he ratted on, handle your business. My homies ain't with him. I'm not telling him what y'all can and can't do, right? He's under my protection. Now, if you pull up on him and I'm there, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get home safe.
Jay Prince just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the whole game. He straight up claims Wack 100 ain't just a snitch. He's something way deeper, like the shadow man pulling strings behind the scenes. He's allegedly the reason certain rappers walk free while others get slammed with Fed time. So if Wack's been the so-called cleanup man, then who's really the puppet master above him? Is he really protecting artists or burying secrets that could burn the whole industry? Word on the streets have been whispering this for a minute, but Jay Prince just said it loud. And let's be real, if you've been locked in with what's really happening in these streets, it ain't even surprising anymore. Folks been saying Wack's name stays too close to the feds, like he's got them on speed dial. Sources out here swear Wack 100 been feeding info for years, which explains why he always gets them quiet little heads ups before the drama even spills into the blogs. Suspicious, right? But here's the real twist. Jay Prince didn't just say Wack's a snitch. He said Wack is the reason some rappers are untouchable. That's a whole different level of power. Think about it. The first names that come up, The Game, 6ix9ine, and Blueface. All three ride close with Wack, and all three somehow keep dodging bullets, both legally and literally. Court cases disappear, beefs fade out of nowhere, and the heat just never sticks. But the real question is, who's Wack 100 really protecting, and what's he protecting them from?
He popped off at me first saying my podcasting and business was 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I told him I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't give a fuck who he ratted on.
Right.
That ain't my business. The people he ratted on, handle your business. I'm not telling him what y'all can and can't do, right? He's under my protection. Now, if you pull up on him and I'm there, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get home safe.
Take The Game, for example. That man been drowning in lawsuits, scandals, and ugly public beefs that could have ended his entire career years ago. One judgment alone had him owing a wild $7 million. Most artists would have folded and vanished after that kind of hit. But somehow, The Game ain't crumble. Why? Because of Wack. Wack didn't just stand by him like a loyal manager. Nah, he locked everything down. He scooped up Game's masters, controlled his royalties, and moved like he straight up owned the whole catalog. That ain't no regular damage control. That's full-blown ownership. Wack positioned himself as the gatekeeper to every single dollar coming in. You want to sue Game? You better go through Wack. You want to touch a piece of Game's music money? Too late. Wack already carved his slice before you even thought about it. And when people started calling that $7 million judgment unfair, Wack didn't quietly defend him. He came out loud, bold, and unapologetic, making it clear he wasn't just protecting an artist. He was guarding his investment. It felt less like loyalty and more like strategic control, like Wack was playing chess while everyone else was stuck playing checkers. So you really got to ask yourself, was that loyalty or straight up leverage? Because it's starting to look like Wack 100 don't just manage rappers. He practically owns the rights to their survival. Look at 6ix9ine, the rainbow-haired snitch poster boy. After he folded in court and sang like a bird, the entire rap game turned their back on him.
The original filing was for $1 million, $2 million, right? But for whatever reason, because the judge was feeling the way he was feeling, he bumped that shit up to like 5 million, 7 million, some crazy shit.
Labels dropped him like dead weight. The OGs wouldn't even say his name. His reputation was straight poison. He was done, finished, career in the trash. But out of nowhere, Wack stepped in, scooped him up like he was on clearance, and breathed life back into him. Wack didn't just rebuild his contracts, he handed him a whole new platform on Clubhouse, gave him a megaphone to talk reckless, and even sent him gas money when dude was broke. That ain't normal business moves. That's straight resurrection. Wack didn't just revive a dead career, he dragged a pariah back into the spotlight like the streets never marked him. No cosigns from the culture, no real respect from the streets, just raw media manipulation and some wild federal level protection vibes that made it feel like 6ix9ine was untouchable. And let's not forget, this man been moving freely in cities that should have ended him without a second thought. Yet he's still out here breathing easy. Why? And when Jay Prince called it out months back, Wack didn't even blink. He didn't deny it, didn't backtrack. He doubled down. He said clear as day, 6ix9ine is my guy and I'll protect him, like he was daring anyone to test him. See, that ain't loyalty. That's a chess piece being moved by somebody who knows exactly where the bodies are buried.
When you found out that Wack was working with 6ix9ine, what was your original reaction?
I don't even know how that happened, to be honest with you, but it was just like,
You're like, oh, okay, that's
like, okay, yeah, like it was one of those, like not like he's weird. It was more like
And then you got Blueface. Man, he's like a walking headline machine. Fights, arrests, restraining orders, messy viral moments. It's like, dude got a weekly subscription to chaos. Every other day, there's some fresh embarrassment attached to his name. But here's the craziest part. Wack always knows what's coming before the streets even catch a whiff. Before any footage leaks, before the charges even stick, Wack is already out there on Clubhouse talking smooth, saying it ain't that deep. He's not just reacting to trouble, he's pre-spinning it like he's got the court schedule sitting on his desk. Every time Blueface catches heat, Wack pops up with a mic in hand, redirecting the blame, minimizing the damage, and keeping the mess off the front page. That ain't just PR. That's a full-blown shield with a scanner that sees trouble before it even hits. And the streets noticed it heavy when it all connected back to how Wack been working with 6ix9ine. If he could flip the narrative for the most hated snitch in the game, then it's no surprise he can make Blueface's endless drama look like it's nothing. Blueface didn't even blink. No outrage, no fallout, just straight silence. Why? Maybe because he knows exactly who's really keeping the wolves off him.
All right, so yeah, after you got that message,
Huh?
you hit up Big U's wife. You said, sis, 911. One sec, let me get Solo. And you gave him a heads up.
What I tell him?
You said, one sec, let me get Solo. He needs to leave. Bad. In caps, all caps. He needs to leave.
I said so bad, right?
Yeah, full bad.
It wasn't like, oh no, it was more like, oh, right. That's when you realize things might not just be dirty, they're sounding federal. And here's where it gets even heavier. There have been whispers for years that Wack had Birdman covered too. Yeah, the same Birdman who'd been a power player in the game forever. Back in 2018, they linked up on something big. Cash Money West under Universal. Word was there was a fat $20 million investment behind it. That wasn't no small-time handshake. That was deep business, building up West Coast acts like Savi Third and others. Wack was stepping into mogul territory, locking in real money moves. But it didn't last long. That so-called alliance between Wack and Birdman, it allegedly turned sour fast. Suddenly, Wack was on Clubhouse barking reckless, throwing shots at Birdman's camp. He even went as far as calling Birdman's artist BG a rat, and he said it right after BG came home from a brutal 14-year bid. The timing was cold and the disrespect was loud. And instead of hashing it out like grown men, Wack 100 claimed Birdman kept blowing up his phone, begging for a private convo. But what did Wack do? He didn't keep it behind closed doors. Nah, he straight aired him out publicly, loud and disrespectful for the whole world to hear. No respect, no loyalty, just straight humiliation. And here's the kicker. Even when BG's own cellmate vouched that BG never snitched, Wack stood firm on his claims. No paperwork, no proof, just loud accusations tossed into the air.
Present where you come from and what's supporting you. So now I got to cut you.
Yeah, he biting the hand, huh?
So I'm not answering Birdman's call.
And that right there burned the bridge with Birdman for good. But what's even deeper is this. Suge Knight allegedly warned Birdman years ago, straight from prison, that Wack moved funny and couldn't be trusted. Sugi said the man was shady from the start. And looking back now, maybe Sugi was the only one who really saw the whole play before it even started. See, Wack got a pattern. If you ain't tight with him no more, he'll flip on you. He'll throw your name in the same sentence as snitch and just let the internet run wild with it. That's exactly what happened with Big U. These two were locked in for years, moving like brothers. But once that bond cracked, Wack started sprinkling dirt all over Big U's name, from whispering about Rico chatter to hinting at slaying cases. And here's where it goes from messy to insane. Wack allegedly texted Big U's wife before his arrest, telling her straight up he needs to leave, like he knew something was coming before it even went down. That whole message sounded like a straight up Fed warning. And sure enough, not long after, Big U got hit with a federal case. So now you gotta ask, how does Wack always have the drop like that? How does he know what's coming before it even hits the streets? You can't blame people for wondering if he's plugged in with the feds or if he is the feds. Then came the Rayshawn Williams case, a high school football player who died under suspicious circumstances.
I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and his internet.
Out of nowhere, Wack hops on Clubhouse and drops a bomb, claiming Big U's DNA was found under Rayshawn's fingernails. Now hold up. That ain't info you just hear in the streets. That's sealed investigation material. Only somebody deep on the inside or somebody working with the inside would even know that. And here's the wildest part. Just 2 days after Wack spilled that evidence, the feds swooped in and scooped up Big U. The timing was way too perfect, way too tight to be just a coincidence. Now imagine you're Big U, somebody you used to rock with heavy, somebody you broke bread with, just went public and aired out evidence that connects you to a serious case. And then the feds show up right after. That's not just betrayal, that's execution. What kind of man really does that to someone he used to ride with? But here's the crazy twist. Right before Big U turned himself in on that RICO case, he went on video and straight up called out Wack 100, accusing him of working with the FBI. See, Wack's always running his mouth on Clubhouse. That's his personal battlefield. Every time he grabs that mic, he's tossing out snitch labels like Halloween candy. No hesitation. Gunna, BG, even big industry names who don't even have official charges. If they ain't tight with Wack anymore, he's coming for them full force. He even said Gunna had a 2-hour interrogation video and threatened to leak it for the whole world to see. But guess what? He never dropped it. Not a second of it. Just kept running his mouth, stirring the pot, making everybody wonder if it was real or just another one of his scare tactics.
If anything, it's alarming him because there's a good chance he probably didn't know that his DNA came back up under that boy's fingernails. So if y'all want to say Wack and 600 did anything, you can probably say we're alarmed.
That's the Wack 100 pattern. Loud claims, heavy accusations, but barely any receipts to back it up. And yet somehow, every time he speaks, it sparks chaos. But here's where it gets even nastier. Because Wack 100 don't just talk, he plays mind games. Anytime somebody steps out of line with him, he digs up dirt, real or fake, and dangles it over their head like a trophy. And the crazy part, he don't even care if it's verified. He knows just throwing it into the streets is enough to stain somebody's name forever. And it ain't just about rappers. He's been tied to street legends, old school bosses, even execs in the industry. Whenever he falls out with someone, the pattern's the same. Boom! Suddenly, there's some new info on Clubhouse, and the blogs start buzzing like bees. It's like he's got a personal file cabinet full of secrets just waiting to drop when it benefits him. People been saying for a minute that Wack moves like he's playing both sides. He'll act like he's protecting you, but really he's collecting ammo the whole time. Then when the relationship cracks, he lets it all fly, leaving you wide open for the wolves or even the feds. And that's the wildest part. How does he even know all this sealed behind closed doors info? Stuff only investigators or people in them rooms would have? It's like he's got an inside plug feeding him everything. Or maybe he is the inside plug. See, the thing about Wack 100, he moves like he's untouchable. No matter how loud he talks, no matter how messy the fallout, he always walks away clean. Cases disappear, people go silent, and when the smoke clears, he's still standing, still talking, still connected to the same power circles that should have cut him off ages ago. Some folks swear it's just street smarts, like he's always one step ahead. But others, they believe it's way deeper.
Use some time, I don't know, 24 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour, I don't know. I'm gonna give you some time though, Gunna, for you to go ahead on and confess.
They say Wack got a safety net, like somebody way higher up got his back. Cause think about it, how else can a man call out rappers, bosses, and OGs, drop sensitive info that only the law should know, and still never face the same heat he dishes out? And here's the creepiest part. Rumors been floating that Wack keeps receipts on everybody. Not just dirt, but actual proof. Contracts, recordings, private convos. It's like he's building a digital vault, a shield to protect himself if anyone tries to flip the script on him. So now the whispers are louder than ever. What if Wack 100 ain't just running his own game? What if he's part of something bigger, like a piece on a chessboard being moved by someone even more powerful? Someone who uses him to control the streets from the shadows? Same thing he pulled with BG. Same thing he's done with half the people he calls rats. No receipts, no paperwork, just noise. And that's the real trick. When Wack gets loud, folks stop looking at him. It's all misdirection, right? Smoke and mirrors, the man screams rat at the top of his lungs while moving like one himself. And let's talk wiretaps. Real court documents allegedly mention Wack's name multiple times in a 2022 federal wiretap. Members of the Rollin' 60s were caught talking about how they wanted to lay hands on Wack, saying straight up he was a problem. Too many people trying to touch him, but he never gets touched. Not on the streets, not legally. He walks away clean every single time. And that's exactly what got people thinking even harder. Why is he always in the middle of the drama, but never on the paperwork? So folks started digging even deeper. Back in 2005, Wack and his brother got caught in Texas with illegal guns, and both were convicted felons at the time. That should have been an instant slam dunk case, but what happened? That whole case dropped quietly. And Wack, he just started moving around from jail to jail, federal facility to federal facility. Then suddenly, he was released. No clear reason, no trial, no real charges that stuck. Just gone, like nothing even happened. And that's when the whispers really started creeping in. Maybe Wack flipped way back then. Maybe that was the exact moment he got in bed with the feds. Because from that point on, his whole energy changed. He moved different, talked different, and somehow always stayed one step ahead of everybody. He popped up in LA not long after, suddenly rubbing shoulders with Death Row and Suge Knight, climbing the ranks fast without ever getting touched. Too fast, too smooth. And if you really sit back and connect the pieces, it paints a picture that's hard to ignore. Wack's never just been a manager. Nah, he's a fixer, a cleanup man, a straight up pipeline between the streets and the system. He protects the ones he rocks with, the game, 6ix9ine, Blueface, not just with business deals, but legally when they get into real mess. Every time they're knee deep in drama, Wack steps in, controls the narrative, flips the story, and somehow keeps them out of the real heat. And now with Jay Prince coming out publicly saying Wack's been giving protection to certain rappers through Fed connections, it don't even sound like some wild conspiracy anymore. It's starting to sound like a calculated strategy. Look at his crew, the game. Wack managed him for years, shielded him from that brutal $7 million payout, spun the headlines, and even claimed ownership over his royalties. That ain't just PR, that's full-on control. And 6ix9ine, after the whole world labeled him a rat, every label dropped him, every OG disowned him, nobody wanted to be seen near him, Wack was the only one who stepped up and backed him. He rebuilt his contracts, gave him a platform to talk, and somehow kept him untouched in cities where he should have been finished. He rebuilt 6ix9ine's contracts, slid him gas money when he was broke, and ran his whole comeback play through Clubhouse. And Blueface, man, dude got legal drama every other week, yet somehow he always ends up with Wack spinning the story, reframing the situation, and keeping it from blowing up into something bigger. See, these ain't just clients to Wack. Nah, these are investments, assets, people he can protect when it benefits him, and maybe even use when the time is right. But look at the pattern. Gunna, BG, Big U, the ones who cross him, they get thrown straight under the bus. Their names dragged, their secrets spilled, their reputations shredded. But the game, 6ix9ine, Blueface, they're untouchable. If you're useful to Wack, you get saved. If not, he lets the wolves eat you alive. And trust, the online community has been loud about it. One dude summed it up perfectly saying, Rat 100 is a professional storytelling snitch. And honestly, it's hard to argue when you look at how he moves. He talks like he's exposing people, but at the same time, he's protecting others in ways only someone with deep connections could. Another voice hit even harder, saying straight up, you can tell Wack's working with the feds because he talks too much. And that's the lesson, right? Stay away from people who gossip heavy. Because if they're running their mouth about everybody else, you best believe they'll run it about you too. And if Wack really been working with the feds this whole time, if he's the one picking who to shield and who to throw straight under the bus, then that makes him more than just a loud man. That makes him a power broker. Not just in hip hop, but in the shadows behind it, where the real plays are made. Jay Prince cracked the door open with his claims, but the question is, who's the one name Wack's still hiding in the shadows? Who's really pulling his strings? Because when that name finally drops, it ain't just gonna shake hip hop, it might bring the whole tower crashing down. And you already know when that truth hits the streets, it's going to be too late to spin it. So if you want to keep tapping into the real stories, the ones they don't want you to hear, like, share, and subscribe right now. Stay locked in, because we're diving even deeper. You never know what we'll uncover next. See what's really going down in our hood next.